Okay, let's just get right into it. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are tearing down literally everything you think you know about the political extremes. We all have our assumptions, right? We watch the news, we form opinions, but the hard data, it tells a completely different story. So get ready for a massive reality check. Let's start with the absolute most common assumption out there. It's practically treated as common sense at this point. A bad economy strikes, unemployment skyrockets, people lose their jobs, and boom, extreme right parties suddenly rise to power. You hear it everywhere. And, it makes perfect logical sense. But is it actually true? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. The data completely destroys this myth. It's a total illusion. We love to blame the economy for everything, but the numbers, they don't lie. High unemployment, by itself, does not cause this massive political shift. Consider that common sense officially shattered. And the sheer scale of the proof here, it's undeniable. We aren't just guessing. This conclusion comes from an ironclad data set. We're talking 165 national elections, 19 different Western European countries, spanning over 30 years of history. This isn't just somebody's opinion. This is hard, undeniable evidence. Section 1. The right-wing split. So why did older studies get it so spectacularly wrong? Well, they made a massive mistake. They lumped every single extreme right party into one giant bucket, treated them all exactly the same. But as you'll see here, the data shows two completely different beasts. Look at the old-school neofascist parties. They completely stagnated, absolutely zero growth for decades. Meanwhile, modern populist parties, they shot straight up after 1985. Two distinct groups, two entirely different trajectories. Let's break down the difference, because it's really all about motivation. The old neo-fascist movements, they were just venting. Researchers call this expressive. They totally ignored reality and just wanted to shout their ideology. But the modern populists, they're instrumental. They are cold, they are calculating, they organize heavily, and they actively play the political system to win actual power. Section 2. The unemployment illusion. Let's move to our next massive myth, joblessness. Unemployment is basically a master of disguise. It looks like the main culprit for political anger. But when researchers isolated the variables and controlled for economic factors, they found it's actually hiding behind something else entirely. Check this out. If there are very few immigrants in a country, high unemployment does absolutely nothing for populist parties. Let me repeat that. Without immigration, a terrible job market does not translate into populist votes. Unemployment on its own is completely powerless. So, what's the magic number? It's 6.3%. This is the critical danger line the researchers isolated. The data proves that unemployment only turns into populist votes when the foreign population crosses that 6.3% threshold. Before that line, nothing happens. After that line, that economic anger suddenly finds a political target. Now prepare yourself for a real twist. Look at this breakdown. High unemployment combined with low immigration. That actually yields the lowest support for these parties. But low unemployment and high immigration, support is incredibly high. And when both are high, it absolutely skyrockets. The ultimate takeaway here, even if the economy is absolutely perfect, high immigration alone practically guarantees populist votes. This proves we're not just looking at a crisis of money, it is deeply rooted in a crisis of identity. Section 3. The electoral system filter. Now, we need to uncover the hidden mechanical forces at play, the voting systems themselves. Because voter anger, that's only half the story. The other half is the actual rules of the game. Think of it like a giant funnel. Step 1, voter anger builds up in the population. Step 2, that anger has to pass through the institutional filter, the specific voting rules of a country. Step 3, only then does it become actual populist success. If the filter is tight, the anger gets trapped. If the filter is wide open, the populists win seats. And the data is crystal clear on this. Larger districts and highly proportional voting systems act like a wide open valve. In a strict winner-take-all system, voters are afraid to waste their vote on a small, extreme party. But in a highly proportional system, that fear just vanishes. The system amplifies the effect. Anti-immigrant sentiment easily pours right through that valve, directly turning into real parliamentary seats. Section 4. The final truth and blind spots. Okay, let's take a step back. We've looked at some incredible data today, but to truly understand any topic, we have to acknowledge the blind spots. Here is what the neat spreadsheets miss. First, uncounted shadow labor markets.
For example, the study couldn't fully count an estimated 500,000 undocumented workers in Greece. That completely skews the reality on the ground. Second, statistical anomalies. Take Luxembourg, where European foreigners make up over 30% of the population but aren't viewed as a cultural threat at all. These blind spots absolutely matter. They prove that the real numbers might be even more volatile than the official records show.
Which brings us to our final lingering question. We've seen that voter frustration is deeply tied to complex variables. We've seen that electoral rules mechanically block or amplify this frustration. So, when those institutions fail to filter out the extremes, where does Europe go? What happens when the valve breaks? Keep that question in mind the next time you read the political headlines. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and remember, always question the common sense.